Possible federal investigation on the WNBA for the treatment of Caitlin Clark.
Stephen A. Smith bombing on the WNBA, telling them this could be real. He's even going as far to say Donald Trump.
The WNBA and Caitlin Clark's civil rights.
She's been targeted since she's been in the WNBA.
If the league won't act to protect its superstar from a hostile environment, the government should do so.
2 minutes ago, everything changed.
What? Possible federal investigation on the WNBA for the treatment of Caitlin Clark. Unsafe workplace? Civil rights violated?
The federal government is now looking into the WNBA over serious allegations that Caitlin Clark's civil rights may have been violated.
They said this is where they're going now. Ms. Clark's targeting may reflect a culture of disparate treatment, and the evidence provides reasonable cause for a federal probe into potential civil rights violations.
From constant targeting to league silence, what's been happening on and off the court is no longer being ignored. If you stand with Caitlin Clark, comment 100% below, because this is bigger than basketball.
All you had to do was let her come and play basketball. But instead, you went out your way to have her targeted. Yes, targeted. She's been targeted since she's been in the WNBA. I don't care if you don't like her. You can clearly see that. All of the flagrant fouls last season, they were on her for the most part. They were on her. She was getting knocked around left and right like it was nothing.
For months, fans have watched Caitlin Clark take hit after hit, not just physically, but professionally and personally.
Caitlin Clark, the Department of Justice.
We already heard Christy Sides come out and say she knew last season that there was a level of physicality you could use on Caitlin Clark, not anybody.
What was once dismissed as rookie hazing or tough defense has now become the focus of something much bigger, a potential federal civil rights investigation. It all starts with the undeniable truth.
The WNBA and Caitlin Clark's civil rights. If the league won't act to protect its superstar from a hostile environment, the government should do so.
Everybody's calling the fever soft, except for Sophie and Lexi now.
Caitlin Clark has been relentlessly targeted since stepping into the league. Players have gone out of their way to rough her up. Coaches admitted there's a level of physicality they specifically apply to her. That's not speculation, that's strategy. From being poked in the eye to being body checked off ball, she's been subjected to treatment that goes far beyond what's considered normal in professional basketball.
It's the players who did it. It's the coaches who allowed the players to do it. And then you have the referees there. And then also, what's no repercussions? All these flagrant fouls that was happening, where were they? They were getting called regular fouls. You know why? Now it can happen again.
Even more alarming, the referees have allowed it. Obvious flagrant fouls have either gone uncalled or been downgraded to minor offenses. The message is loud and clear. It's open season on Caitlin Clark. And what happens when there are no consequences? It happens again and again.
But 17 flagrant fouls have been called against people for beating up on Caitlin Clark. That's practically double what's happened for any other player in the league. They have evidence to say she's being treated unfairly.
According to recent reports, 17 flagrant fouls have been committed against her, almost double that of any other player. This isn't just aggressive defense, it's a pattern. And patterns like this are what lead to federal intervention.
Caitlin Clark has done for the women's NBA what Michael Jordan once did for the NBA. Made it more valuable, watchable, and marketable.
Since the day Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, she hasn't just been a rookie, she's been a revolution. She sold out arenas, broke viewership records, and turned women's basketball into a national conversation.
All you had to do was let her come and play basketball. But instead, you went out your way to have her targeted. Yes, targeted. She's been targeted since she's been in the WNBA.
Yet, instead of being embraced by the league she's carrying, she's been met with resistance, rejection, and outright disrespect from the very people who should be supporting her.
When the 1.29 million All-Star votes came in for Caitlin Clark, yet she was ranked 9th among guards on a player ballot. Quote, absolutely pure jealousy that the WNBA players voted Caitlin Clark the 9th best guard.
Caitlin led all players in fan votes with over 1.29 million for the All-Star game, more than double anyone else. But her fellow WNBA players ranked her 9th among guards.
Remember when I brought up the 2024 U.S. Olympic roster, how she was left off of that, and how stupid that was for Team USA women's basketball to leave her off? Remember I said that? They said this is where they're going now. Ms. Clark's targeting may reflect a culture of disparate treatment.
That wasn't about talent. That was about ego, jealousy, a refusal to give her the credit she's earned. It wasn't just a snub, it was a message. One that continued when she was excluded from the Olympic roster, despite her ability to bring global attention and excitement to the sport.
He talked about the Olympic snub. He says here, Miss Clark's targeting may reflect a culture of disparate treatment.
They told her she needed more experience. But what they really meant was, you're not one of us. And then there's the treatment on the court, the constant hard fouls, the trash talk, the dirty plays that go unchecked.
Rebecca Lobo, analyst, ESPN. What does she say? Every single one of those plays against Caitlin Clark has been a foul.
Analysts like Rebecca Lobo have publicly said that every one of those fouls would be called for anyone else. Her own teammate, Sophie Cunningham, said it plainly. Caitlin is not being protected. She's being treated differently, harshly, and the league is letting it happen. What's worse is the silence from her own coach, who barely mentions her when asked.
Sophie Cunningham told the Wall Street Journal she's Caitlin Clark's teammate, the Indiana Fever. The star player of the league is not being protected.
From teammates who, aside from a select few, rarely show they have her back. Most just walk past her after she's knocked down. They don't step in, don't push back, and don't defend her, sending a loud signal to the rest of the league. Go ahead, target her.
Ms. Clark's targeting may reflect a culture of disparate treatment, and the evidence provides reasonable cause for a federal probe into potential civil rights violations.
No one here will stop you. Her offensive role has even been diminished. The system that once let her shine has been replaced with one where she's pushed to the corner, barely touching the ball at times while less impactful players dominate possession. It's not strategy, it's suppression. And fans have noticed. Every time she's looked off, every time she's benched without cause, it becomes more clear.
If the league won't act to protect its superstar from a hostile environment, the government should do so. Professional sports are multi-billion-dollar industries subject to the same civil rights, antitrust, and labor laws as any other.
This isn't about development, it's about control. The jealousy is so strong, it's become blinding. Players and media alike have tried to twist her story, framing her as a product of privilege instead of acknowledging her skill, work ethic, and impact. But the numbers don't lie. The packed arenas, the skyrocketing sales, the millions of eyes tuning in every week.
League, the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark's civil rights. If the league won't act to protect its superstar from a hostile environment, the government should do so. This comes a year after U.S. Congressman Jim Banks wants answers from the WNBA for Kennedy Carter's foul on Caitlin Clark.
That's not a fluke. That's Caitlin Clark. She's not just a player. She's the engine behind the league's sudden growth. And yet the WNBA has allowed a culture to form where that success is seen as a threat instead of a gift. Rather than rising with her, many within the league are trying to drag her down. And now that bitterness, that silence, and that mistreatment may come with real consequences. Because when an employee is punished, isolated, or suppressed despite lifting an entire organization, it stops being just a sports issue. It becomes a legal one. And the country is finally starting to notice.
The onus is on the league. This is not something where people should be showing up at Capitol Hill and having to have a whole conversation about it. This is human decency. And as this article points out, it's also business. Why you want to abuse, denigrate, put your foot upon, cast aspersions on someone who is only trying to play basketball and uplift your league is beyond all of us.
The league may have stayed silent for months, but now the consequences are coming, and they're coming fast. What started as whispers about unfair treatment has now turned into something much more serious.
Ms. Clark's targeting may reflect a culture of disparate treatment, and the evidence provides reasonable cause for a federal probe into potential civil rights violations.
A potential federal investigation into whether Caitlin Clark's civil rights have been violated. It's no longer just fans and commentators raising concerns. Senator Jim Banks has formally demanded answers from the WNBA commissioner.
Clark's targeting may reflect a culture of disparate treatment, and the evidence provides reasonable cause for a federal probe into potential civil rights violations.
The article talks about professional sports are multi-billion-dollar industries subject to the same civil rights, antitrust, and labor laws as any other.
The Department of Justice is being urged to examine the officiating, league communications, and overall treatment of Clark. The Labor Department may even review the league's workplace safety protocols. And this isn't just talk. It's a chain reaction with real legal weight.
Cited recent agreements by Columbia University and Harvard University with Trump's administration to settle alleged civil rights violations against Jewish students and employees as a comparison for a for a potential probe into the WNBA's treatment of Clark.
We've seen this before. When Columbia University faced allegations of discrimination, the federal scrutiny led to a $221 million civil rights settlement. The same legal framework now looms over the WNBA. If the league is found to have allowed or enabled targeting, retaliation, or institutional neglect, the fallout could be massive.
League, the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark's civil rights. If the league won't act to protect its superstar from a hostile environment, the government should do so.
From lost broadcast protections to antitrust exemptions being revoked, to a complete reworking of the league's leadership structure. And the stakes go far beyond basketball. Clark has now become a national figure, not just for what she does on the court, but for what she represents.
They were on her for the most part, bro. They were on her. She was getting knocked around left and right like there was nothing. So she's targeted by the players, right? We already heard Christy Sides come out and say she knew last season.
She's a young, talented athlete trying to uplift a league that seems determined to suppress her. And whether people want to admit it or not, her story is now being politicized. Some see her as a symbol of opportunity, others as a target of resentment. And that divide has drawn the attention of politicians, media empires, and cultural critics alike. This isn't about party lines. It's about principles, fairness, safety, respect in the workplace.
And we have a lot of impactful women. You have Lisa Leslie, you got Candace Parker, Cheryl Swoops-Meyer Moore. We talking about now in an era where you got a bunch of social media and people have their own fan base and all that. It is Clark. Look at the money she's bringing in. Got shit jumping out the... Man, come on now. Come on now. Nobody cared about this motherfucker till she got here. We just got to accept that. And they know that too, and that's why they jealous. There needs to be an investigation. They can't hide it.
Caitlin Clark is being pushed into a role she never asked for, that of a symbol. But the evidence supporting her case is impossible to ignore. Physical abuse, media gaslighting, coaching suppression, teammate indifference.
Y'all not going to be able to got snubbed for the Olympics. That's not something to investigate, but all of this ties into her being targeted. All of it. All of it. I'm not tripping that Angel didn't make it last season because she wasn't playing that good last season.
League silence. And when you add it all up, it's more than just mistreatment. It looks like a coordinated effort to marginalize the very player bringing the most value to the league. The one driving record-breaking ticket sales. The one fans pay to see. The one who's lifted the WNBA onto a bigger stage and is now being punished for it.
Sophie Cunningham told the Wall Street Journal she's Caitlin Clark's teammate, the Indiana Fever. The star player of the league is not being protected.
The league had its chance to get ahead of this, to protect her, to listen, to lead. But now that opportunity may be gone because federal eyes are watching. Congressional pressure is building. And if this becomes a landmark civil rights case, the WNBA may be forced to answer a question it's avoided for too long. Why did you let this happen to Caitlin Clark? The silence can't last forever, and neither can the excuses.
Based on this story right here, it's the first salvo. And embracing her is a long way towards that.
If they don't find something, they don't find something.
Caitlin Clark didn't come to the WNBA asking for special treatment. She came to play basketball. But what she's faced goes far beyond the game. She's been shoved, snubbed, silenced, and scapegoated.
Came in for Caitlin Clark, yet she was ranked 9th among guards on a player ballot. Quote, absolutely pure jealousy that the WNBA players voted Caitlin Clark the 9th best guard. Someday they will realize what she has done for all of the players in the WNBA.
All while elevating the league to heights it's never seen before. And now with the federal government watching, the WNBA is being forced to confront a truth it's tried to bury. This is about more than hard fouls or missed calls. It's about a system that failed to protect its brightest star and may now pay the price for that failure. Because when silence becomes policy and targeting becomes culture, consequences are inevitable.
And him being an obvious sports fan, goes to events and stuff like that. He pays attention to this kind of stuff.
She's been very clear about how Caitlin Clark has been fouled repeatedly.
Come on, man. This is history in the making. This is never going to happen again.
Whether or not this investigation moves forward, one thing is already clear. Caitlin Clark exposed a broken structure, and she did it not by pointing fingers, but by showing up, competing, and refusing to back down. So if you stand with Caitlin, not just as a player, but as someone demanding fairness, respect, and change, say it loud in the comments. 100%. Because this moment is bigger than basketball, and it's not over yet.